Isekai is life. Isekai is love. Isekai anime is still popular. It's an anime where the main characters are transported or reincarnated into another world. After 2020, a difficult year that also affects the anime industry and many anime delayed, we are ready to face the new year. In 2021, we have top 10 isekai anime, both sequels and new adaptations. So welcome back to Animeology, and today we will show you the top 10 transported to another world anime. Before we begin, be sure to drop a like and subscribe down below for more anime top 10s, and without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 10. So I'm a spider. So what? With the beginning of the winter anime season comes a new slate of isekai anime along with it. As a result, this season also brings us the anime adaptation of one of the strangest yet most popular isekai visual novel series, So I'm a Spider, So What? This is the story about a student who has the lowest reputation in his class. The students who died in the explosion will be reincarnated in another world, while she, the protagonist, will be reincarnated into a spider. She, however, adapts to her new life quickly with strong willpower. Now, the story about the girl who has become a spider begins. So far, So I'm a Spider, So What? Is a charming isekai that knows it's an isekai. It doesn't beat around the bush and proudly presents its tropes to the viewers. But thankfully, in an interesting way, its boisterous main character also gives it the edge over other similar titles, making it worth the time spent on it. Up next at number 9, Mushoku Tensai, Jobless Reincarnation. Mushoku Tensai is one of the better looking anime this season so far, with lush animation and stellar direction despite its simple, overused isekai formula, which is at least something. The anime starts with a pretty basic introduction, as an unknown 34-year-old NEET is killed in a car accident. After we see the final moments of his life in the modern world through his eyes, we then see as he's instantly reborn, or rather reincarnated, into an unknown fantasy world as a baby named Rudius Greyrat. To say the introduction of this anime was strange would be quite an understatement. Rudy's personality as a former NEET and perverted otaku comes across quite well with his thoughts and actions, such as his sexual stimulation and fondling of his new mother's breasts, or going through the maid's panties and making her visibly uncomfortable. Number 8. Hamefura, My Life as a Villainous, All Routes Lead to Doom. Hamefura, My Life as a Villainous, All Routes Lead to Doom, takes a female lead in Katarina Claes. Katarina once lived a normal life and was obsessed with the otome game Fortune Lover. After a fatal accident, she's transported into the world of Fortune Lover with amnesia. Thanks to hitting her head on a rock, she remembers her past life and realizes she is now in a new world as the villainess of Fortune Lover. If fate continues, she will be set to die, but thanks to her obsessive knowledge over the game, she looks to rewrite her intended route. Watching this anime is so entertaining that you won't have any moment of boredom. Its fictional universe is built intricately and cleverly designed. The characters are funny and act in absurd ways. The otame game setting really heightens the comedic effect and proves to add a pretty unique flavor to the plot. The heroine's bickering and ridiculous plans are also pretty hilarious and really lend the comic relief for the plot itself. Number 7. Ascendance of a Bookworm. 魔力が漏れている。感情を抑えなさい。 Ascendance of a Bookworm is an isekai anime about a college student named Urano Mutosu, whose goal in life is to become a librarian. She absolutely loves books, and she actually achieves her dream at the start of the story. Unfortunately, her story is cut short after an earthquake causes a bookshelf to fall on her and end her life. She then wakes up in the body of a 5-year-old peasant girl named Mine in the middle of a medieval Europe-like world. Worst of all, her cherished books are too expensive for her to buy. She then vows that if she can't have books, she will make them. Where Ascendance of a Bookworm differs from most isekai is its lack of action. Ascendance, in that aspect, is a very unique isekai. Not only does it have a female character as its lead, which is rare in isekai, but it also keeps the viewer entertained despite a lack of fighting and flashy visuals. Moving on with number 6, ReZero, starting life in another world. No video about isekai anime would be complete without including ReZero, starting life in another world. The series follows protagonist Natsuki Subaru, who finds himself transported to a fantasy world cursed with a terrifying power. Known as Return by Death, this power resurrects Subaru and reverses time up to a certain moment. Starting off with a lighthearted atmosphere, it quickly turns dark as Subaru finds himself dying in several brutal ways. Each resurrection gives him a new chance to protect those close to him. With its mesmerizing animation by White Fox, it has magic, action, a lot of comedy, romance, and powerful storytelling, and a cast of likable characters like Emilia and Rem. There's something in it for everyone in this anime, and honestly, it's just a really good show. ReZero is often considered one of the best isekai series of all time. Up next at number 5, we have Restaurant to Another World. Isekai Shokodu is a unique isekai, or otherworld anime. Instead of the human beings being transported to a fantasy world, we have mythical creatures from another world being transported to the human world. To be more specific, a restaurant. Welcome to Nekoya, a restaurant of Western cuisine. Of course, to us humans, these are just everyday meals that you can find at any restaurant. But to numerous magical patrons, these regular entrees are high-quality Western dishes. Can't eat meat? No problem. The unnamed chef and owner, simply known as Tensho, or Master, will create a special meal just for you. Nekoya is open to the fantasy world every Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If customers feel like staying longer, then they can enjoy a beer or two, or perhaps order dessert. Just be careful, as some of the patrons can get a little rowdy. Quite often, a customer will get into an argument with another patron. Nothing violent, they're just disputing which dish is best on the menu. And if things really heat up, the entire restaurant will join in on the conversation. Next at number 4, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, focuses on protagonist Katsuma Sato, who gets transported to, you guessed it, another world. Unlike most isekai anime, the premise of this series focuses on Katsuma getting into ridiculous yet hilarious situations. The story starts with the protagonist, Katsuma, as someone who isn't enjoying life. He's shut himself off from the rest of the world and doesn't really care. So the best possible thing happens to him. He dies. He had no real reason to live anymore, so he got killed. Konosuba's message is not subtle. Now that he's very much dead, Katsuma gets his cliched second chance reincarnation. Approached by an immature goddess, he's offered a new life in an extremely unpleasant-sounding RPG-style alternate reality to defeat the Demon King. Moving on to number 3, the time I got reincarnated as a slime. The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime follows the story of a middle-aged man named Satoru Mikami, who is randomly stabbed on the street. He's reincarnated into another world, not as a wizard or a demon or anything else a person would hope for, but as a slime. Luckily for Rimuru Tempest, his new name, he's not just any slime. He can absorb new skills from his environment and from his foes, giving him a seemingly endless array of abilities. While Rimuru could use those powers to do harm, he chooses instead to build a community and help others, just as he tried to do through his company job on Earth. With his newfound abilities, he quickly evolves into one of the strongest beings in the world. The series is often praised for its cast of memorable characters. Rimuru is especially popular, having been voted as the best anime protagonist of 2019 in the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. With a second season scheduled for 2021, fans cannot wait to see more of Rimuru and his friends. Up next at number 2, The Rising of the Shield Hero. The Rising of the Shield Hero, which began airing during the winter 2019 anime season, is one of the hottest anime series around. Rising of the Shield Hero follows Naofumi Iwatani, one of 4 heroes summoned to a new world in the hopes of saving it. Unfortunately for Naofumi, he's the Shield Hero, which means that he's looked down on from the start. Worse, the one person who pretends to be willing to help him betrays him and destroys his reputation, forcing him to complete his mission alone if he ever wants to see his home again. As a result, he becomes a shell of his former self. From a kind and trusting person, he becomes cynical and distrustful of everyone. In addition to its intense fight scenes, this anime is also praised for its character development. Against all odds, Naofumi perseveres against hate and discrimination to prove what it means to be a true hero. And finally, at number 1, Overlord. An isekai series normally consists of a protagonist being summoned into a new world to help save it. However, that's not the case with Overlord. The anime's plot starts when a dive massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or DMMORPG, called Yggdrasil is released. Standing out among all other DMMORPGs due to its unusually high ability for the player to interact with the game. Just like all good things, this game also runs its course. After 12 long years, the game servers are about to be shut down. Within the game, there exists a guild, Eins Ul Gon, once consisting of 41 members, and is credited as one of the strongest guilds in the game. In this guild, we have a skeletal Overlord character named Momonga, who decides to stay in the game until the servers shut down, but miraculously finds himself stuck in it. The game after the shutdown creates an alternate reality out of itself. He later renamed himself Eins Ul Gon, the ruler of the Tomb of Nazarick. With his newfound power and army of loyal followers, he decides to conquer the world. With hilarious character interactions and frequent displays of Eins's godlike power, this series is a must-see for any fan of isekai.
Perfect.